Hey everyone, in this video, we will build an average reviews component. This will be a component that takes a number between 0 and 5, rounded to the nearest 0.5, and it will display the number by filling in the stars similar to other sites you find out there. So if it's like a 3, it will fill in 3 out of the 5 stars. So 2 will be outlined and 3 will be filled in to a solid color. Or 3.5 would have 3 plus 1/2 filled in star, similar to other things you'll find out there. We'll need to make changes to our API as well for this, so this will require changes in both the front end and the back end. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we'll need to do is build a new component. And so we'll go into our components file, we'll create a new file, and we'll save this as average review.js. And this will just be a normal React component. So we'll export default function average review, and we'll pass in a prop value of value. And this will be the star value that we pass into it. And then inside of this function here, we'll go ahead and return. Let's go ahead and return that. And then we'll go ahead and first we'll have a parent element as a div here. We'll go close off that div. And once again, I'll need to fix my text highlighting here. So I'll go to view, syntax, Babel, JavaScript. Okay, now inside of here, we want to go ahead and show 5 stars. And then based on what the value is, either fill it in, don't fill it in, or fill it in halfway. So we'll go ahead and first we'll get our value. And we'll see if it's greater than or equal to 1. If that's the case, we want to go ahead and fill in the star completely. So we'll go ahead and check for that. If it is, we'll go ahead and fill it in. Right now we don't have any icons for that. So let's go ahead and bring in all 3 icons we're going to need. So up to the top, I'll go ahead and import a few things. So we'll import star icon from at material-ui/icons/star. And we'll go ahead and copy this down 2 more times. Oops. And we'll have a star icon, we'll have a star outline icon, and we'll have a star half icon. And then over here on imports, there'll be star outline and star half, like that. Okay, and so obviously this is the filled in one, this is the half filled in one, and this is the empty one. So we'll go ahead and here, in this case, we want to go ahead and fill in the star. So we'll go ahead and put in our star icon, just like that. And then we'll go ahead and check. If it's not greater than or equal to 1, is the value greater than or equal to 0.5? And if that's the case, you want to go ahead and fill in the half star, fill half of the star in. So we'll do star half icon. If none of those are true, we'll go ahead and fill in none of the star and just put the star outline instead. So here we'll do star outline icon, just like that. And then we need to go ahead and copy this down 4 more times for each star. One, 2, 3, and 4. And now instead of 1 for each time, we got to increase the number by 1. So instead of 1 here, this will be 2. Instead of 0.5, this will be 1.5. Instead of 1 here, this will be 3, and this will be 2.5. This will be 4, and this will be 3.5. This will be 5, and this will be 4.5. And that should really be it for this component. It's pretty simple. It just shows 5 stars, and based on the value, it either fills in all of them, half of them, or whatever. There we go. We can go ahead and save that, and that's our average reviews component. Let's go ahead and bring that in and just pass in a test value to see how this works. So we'll go inside of our pages. We'll go into either one. Business is one of them that needs it So we'll go ahead here first and we'll replace this typography with to do review component with our average review component. This will be our average review, like that. And we'll pass in a value equaling to, we'll start with 3, I guess, for now. Let's go ahead and import that. So we'll do import average review from dot slash component slash average review. We save that. Let's go ahead now and check this out. So you click on one of these. Oh, maybe we forgot to actually link these to the category. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. That'll be pretty easy change to make. So on our homepage here, this is where we're going and putting out the category. We can go ahead and add on click onto our card. And so actually before we do that, let's go ahead and import our router. So up here, we'll do import use router from next/router. Then we can go ahead and use that down here. So below our const classes here, we'll do a const router equals use router, just like that. And then on our card here, we can put an on click equaling, and this will equal a function that will just use that router, do a router.push to send us to a different URL. And this will be slash, we want to go categories / category dot slug. And we'll wrap this inside of curly braces here and put a $sign in front. And then we'll change these to backticks. Make sure these are in backticks so this won't work correctly. Just like that. We'll save that and see if this works now. Come back here. So we click on one here, it takes us there. But let's go ahead and make one more change though. Let's make that turn that into a pointer. Back into our text editor. We can add a style on this pretty quickly. So we'll add a new style up here, and this will be card. We'll do category card. This will just be cursor. Set the pointer. And then we can add this category card class onto our card. So we'll find our card right here, and we will come outside of our curly braces right here and do class name equaling classes dot category card. There we go. And now we come back here. We go back one, and now it turns into a pointer. When we go over the card, click on it, it takes us to our business page. I'll list all of our businesses right here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get back to adding our review components. So on our business page here, we added it right here, and you see right now it's working. We passed in 3, so it's filling in 3 stars. If I were to go and change that number to something else, like, let's see here, 3.5, now we should have a half star filled in as well. And there we go. Now we have a half star filled in. And this works with any number. We can pass in kind of whatever. Back to our code here. We can do let's do like 1.5 or something. Let's do a small number. And now there's 1 half stars filled in, and maybe they have good reviews. It's 4.5. Put in a 4.5, and it fills in 4.5. So it's working great. Let's go ahead and add the same component also back on this page as well. So instead of this to do reviews, we'll have a review showing right here as well. So we'll go ahead and jump back into our text editor. We will go back to categories here. And where we have this typography for to do reviews, which is right here, we'll replace this with average review, value equaling for now 3.5, and we'll close off this tag, and we'll import that up here. Import average review from // component / average review. And now it's showing up right here, 3.5 stars, since that's what I put in as the value. Okay, great. So that's all working good. Our average review component is working. Let's go ahead and add some test reviews, and then we'll update our API and our front end to actually pull these reviews from the API. But right now we don't have any reviews. Let's go and add some real quick. So we'll jump into reviews. We need to log in first. So I'll log in with the account I created in the first video. And that should give us this box here to create a view. So first one we'll make, call it they have great food. And we can say whatever here, very good food. It doesn't really matter, put whatever you want. And it'll give them a 4.5 on this one. And we'll select this business object as the review, and we'll post that. So we have one issue here. It looks like I used the integer field for our stars. That's fine if you want to force them to give just whole numbers, but in our case, we want to give them half up, either full numbers or 0.5. So we need a decimal field instead. So let's go ahead and make that change in our API. So we'll jump into our backend. We'll jump into our reviews app, and we'll go into our models.py. On the review here, the stars right now is an integer field, so we'll change this. And so instead of integer field, we will go decimal field, and we'll pass in some options here, some arguments. We'll do a max digits equal to 2, because all it's going to be is the 0 to 5, so it's just 0 to 5, and maybe add a 0.5 if we need that. And then we'll also add a decimal places, set that equal to 1, because we don't want them to go more than just a 0.5. So we'll set that to 1. Now we go ahead and make migrations and migrate those changes. So jump into our backend, which is right here. We'll go ahead and stop the server, and we'll do a Python 3 manage.py make migrations, and Python 3 manage.py migrate. There we go. Let's go and run our server again. And now when we post this, it should go through okay. There we go. So now we added a review with stars of 4.5. Let's make another one, and we'll say it was okay. And we'll put an okay restaurant. And we'll give them like a 3 or something here. And once again, we'll keep all the other stuff the same, and we'll post that as well. Now, if I go back to the root of our reviews and we do a get, we have 3. I guess I did create one, this one right here. And we'll leave that one for now. So we have 3 reviews, the one we had earlier, plus these 2 new ones. Okay, and now we have some reviews on this business. Let's go ahead and create one new business and create some reviews on that one as well. So we'll go to businesses here, and we'll create one more new business. This will be business 2, business -2, another test business. Price string will be very cheap. We'll just pass in the same values here. GP test.com. Phone will be 111. We'll do 111, 1111. Hours will be 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. And there we go. So we have another test business here. If we do a get, we should have 2 businesses now. And looking back at our reviews, if we do a get here, right now the business is set all to the first business. Let's create one, but set it to the second business now. And we'll give this one a bad review. Say terrible food, not a great restaurant, and we'll give the stars here to be like 1.5 or something. And this will be a business object too. Let's go and post that review just like that. And now if we do a get, we have 3 set to business 1, you can see here, and 1 set to business 2. Okay, now with all that test data set up, we can go ahead and make some changes to our API. So there's a few different things we'll need to do. First things first, on our business, we want to go ahead and pull the reviews for that business on the model itself. So when we return this, we want a reviews field that has a list of all of the reviews for this business. We also need to do something in our categories, because right now all we have access to is business. We want the business and the reviews for that business as well, so we can calculate the average reviews there as well. So this will require a few changes in our backend. Luckily, this is pretty easy to do, so it won't be that difficult. It's pretty similar to things we've done in the past as well. So what we'll do is we'll open up our code. We'll go into our backend, into our serializers.py. So in here, this is how we're setting our fields. And right now we use this special syntax of _all, to grab everything on all the fields on the model. But this doesn't include all the related fields that we need. So unfortunately, we have to change this to be all of the fields plus the related fields. So first, let's go ahead and make a change to our business serializer. So instead of using this fields all, I'm going to go ahead and create a list and manually pass in all the fields that I need. So we'll go ahead and put them all in separate lines like this, and we'll do URL, name, slug, description, price range, street address, city, region, postal code, country, website, phone, hours, and then we'll need the related field here of reviews. We also want to go ahead and add this depth equals 1 as well. That way our reviews field will hold all the values, all the fields for the reviews object instead of just the URL. That way we can access them directly without making another API call. So I'm going to just copy this and paste that right up here, just like that. And that should be it for the business serializer changes. And now we need to do something similar for the category serializer. So we already have depth equals 1, so all we need to do here is update the fields, but we also need to go ahead and pull in the business serializer because we want access to those fields as well. So what we'll do here is above our class meta, make sure you're not inside of that, but above that, we're going to set business equal to business serializer and then pass in many equals true. And then down here in our fields, let's go ahead and create another list and pass in all of our fields again. So this will have less fields. So it's just URL, name, slug, ordinal, and business, just like that. We'll go ahead and save those changes as well. Now let's go ahead and go and jump back into our API and see what this looks like. Looks like we're getting an error. Reviews, not a valid model for business. Oh, because we need to make one more change to our models. So back in our models.py, we save the review of the business on the review right here on this business models equals foreign key. We also want to add it to our business model as well. And we can do that here by coming into the arguments and adding a related name and setting that equal to reviews. So now on the business model, we'll have access to this review object through the name reviews. Go and save that. And I don't think I need to migrate changes from there. No, so there we go. And so now if we look at our business or our categories model here, we have our category information, we have our business information, and then we have our reviews information right here. So now from our category page, using this one API call, we can get all of our reviews for each business and calculate the average review. Okay, let's go back to our root and look at our business now. And here we go. So now we have all of these fields here, plus the reviews and all the fields for the review. So now we can grab the stars field for each review, and we can add them up, divide it to get an average, and use that to display, and then I guess round it up to 0.5 if it's not a 0.5 or a whole number, and then display that in our reviews component. Okay, and I think that's all we need to do to our API. That's good. This one has 1 because we want to put 1 review on the second business. It has 3. So I think this is all looking good. Let's go ahead and update our front end now. So if we go back to our code here, and we can go and close off all of these pages here. There's a lot of stuff open. Just do close tabs to the right and close everything out. Okay, so now jump to our front end. We'll first start with our business page. So this page right here should be this page. So on this page, let's go and get the correct number of reviews for this first business and display it here. And so we'll do all of this inside of our get server side props function. First, we can get rid of this console.log, so we don't need that. And let's go ahead and add in some logic to get the reviews and calculate it. So everything we need is inside this API call. So we don't need to make another API call because we already have it within this data value right here. So first, let's create a variable. We'll do let average review equal null. And so before we do anything, we'll set the value to null. We'll create a variable to save this in and set the value to null. Now we'll check if there's data and if there's a data.results and data.results 0.reviews.length or .reviews. So if this is the case, we know we have reviews on our business and or reviews field, which there should always be a field, but we know we have a field there. Now let's go ahead and create another variable. We'll call this total reviews stars. And what this value will be, we'll set the default to 0. And what this value will be is the total number of stars. So to get the average, obviously we need to add up each one and then divide it by the total number that we added up. So in the case that we have 3 reviews, we'll take each stars and then each star value, add it and save it inside of this total reviews stars value. And then we'll divide it by 3. So this will be fairly easy to do. We'll create a for loop, let I equal 0, I less than data dot results 0 dot reviews dot length, and then we'll do I plus plus. So just a simple JavaScript for loop. And now inside of here, we'll do total reviews stars equals total reviews stars plus, and we'll cast this to a number, and we'll do data.results 0 dot reviews I dot stars. So let's go through this real quick, see what we're doing. So we're taking the previous number and we're adding this new number to it. And so what we're doing is we're going to our data.results 0 dot reviews I. So let's look at our API. So in this case, we'll get a results value here. And since we're on the business page, there will only be one business inside this results array. So we can grab the first one to grab the very first and only result, which should look something like this for this first business. And then we're creating a for loop to loop over all of these reviews right here. So we're going one by one and we're looping over it, grabbing the stars value. So if you look at our code again, on the reviews on that loop item, so whatever review we're on, we're grabbing the stars field. So we're just grabbing this stars field here, converting it to a number, because right now it's going to be a string when we get it, and we're adding it to our total reviews value. And so we'll take this 3, we'll add it to the 4.5, then we'll add it to the 3, and then we'll divide all this by 3, and that'll be our average. So we just did the first step here by going through here and grabbing the stars field for each review and adding it together. That's all that line is doing. Okay, and now that we have this total reviews value set, we can go ahead and convert it to an average. So the first things first, we want to go ahead and set a inverse value, and this you can change this based on what you want to round to. In our case, we want to round to 0.5, so I'll just take 1 divided by what we want to 2 in this case, which will be 0.5, and you can change this number to be however you want based on what you want to round to. But then down here, we can set an average review value equal to math.round. And math.round rounds to the nearest whole number, which is not really what we want. So we got to kind of do something special here to make it round to the 0.5 value. So first things first, we'll take our total reviews stars and we'll divide that by data.results 0 .reviews.length. So all we're doing here is getting the total number of reviews and getting the length of that to get the total amount of reviews inside of that array. And we're just dividing that by our review stars. So that's just the first part of getting an average, just taking the total number, dividing by the amount of elements we're averaging. And then from there, we take that value and divide it by the inverse. And then we can go ahead and multiply that by the inverse. So this might be kind of confusing, but in this case, we want to round to 0.5, so we'll So inside of a round, we divide it by 0.5, and then outside the round, we multiply by 0.5. And you can use that for any number you want to round to. This is how we want it in our case. So that might be a little confusing, but that's just what you need to do to round to a specific number. So that's just sort of the basic syntax for that. And that's it for our data here in flat logic. We now have our average here sitting in this average review function. Let's go ahead and pass into our props and bring it into our front end. So we'll add an average review value, and we'll set that to the average review. And now up here in our front end or in our client side, we can go ahead and add it up here. So we'll add an average review value right there. And then down here, we can pass it into our component, which is right here. Let's go ahead and test this out and see how it looks. And it looks like we might have an error here because it did not fill in any stars. Actually, let's go ahead and first do this. There we go. Okay, so you might need to go ahead and refresh the page first. When you change the server-side code, sometimes you got to do a refresh or it won't work correctly. But it looks like it's working well. We have 3.5 as our average. Okay, now let's go and do the same thing for our categories page. Now this might be a little more confusing because there's a little more we have to do on this. But what we'll need to do, so first let's go to that page. So what we'll need to do here is do something very similar, but we'll need to do two loops. One loop through the businesses in the category and one loop through the actual reviews for that business. So looking at our API again, on a category here, we may have multiple businesses. Right now we only have one, but we in the future we'll have more than one. And so what we'll need to do here is we'll need to loop over the business array first and get all of these businesses. And then for each business, we need to loop over the reviews array and get all of the reviews for that business, do the calculation for that business, and save that value for that business inside of an object. So that might be a little confusing. We'll go through real quick and hopefully it makes sense. All we're doing is calculating the average review for each of these and returning that whole object to the client side. So hopefully it makes sense here once we type it out. But what we'll need to do is, once again, we'll need to go ahead and create an average review value and set it equal to null. Then we'll need to go ahead and do an if statement again. If data and data.results and data.results 0.business. And then we'll go ahead and inside of here create two for loops. So do for let I equals 0, I is less than data.results 0.business.length. So we're looping over all of our businesses first. We'll do I++. And then inside this loop, we'll create another for loop. For let j equals 0. J is less than data.results 0.business I.reviews.length. Now we're looping over the length of the business list or the reviews list. And we'll do a j++. Okay, now inside both these arrays, first thing we do is add up all of these reviews and save that in a value. So we're going to save that value outside of this for loop. So above this for loop, we'll create a let total review stars equals 0. And this is just the same as we did last time. So it's just total reviews stars equals total reviews stars equals or plus cast to a number, and we'll pass in data.results 0.business I.reviews j. So we're just, this might be kind of confusing, but all we're doing is going to the business that we're currently on and the review we're currently on within these two loops, and we're adding those numbers together for each of those reviews. And then we want to go ahead and get the star value off this current review that we're on. So dot stars. And that should add everything up. Now we can go outside of this first inner loop. And inside of our second loop, we can go ahead and once again do a const inverse equal 1 divided by 2 to get the 0.5 that we want. And then we can go ahead and set the average review. And actually, let's change this to average reviews and make this an object. So we'll have to save not only the average reviews, but also some sort of identifying piece so we know which review goes to which business. So average reviews, and we'll add another key to that object, and we'll go ahead and just add the URL because that will be a unique key. So data.results 0.business I, so the current business that we're on, get that URL and set that as the key, and we'll set the value equal to math.round. And this is the same as the previous one we did. So math.round total reviews stars divided by the data.results 0.business I, so the current business that we're on, get that business, get the reviews.length for that business. And that will give us an average. Then we can go ahead and just divide it by the inverse outside of that, divide by the inverse, and then multiply it by the inverse outside of our round. And then we can go ahead and return this average reviews object down here. So we'll do average reviews and set that equal to average reviews, just like that. And we'll go ahead and save that. Okay, we can go ahead and bring that in up here. Up here at the top within our props, we can go ahead and bring in our average reviews. Just like that. And now we can go find where we have our average reviews component, which is right, where is it? Right here. Okay, so right here. So now what we need to do is we need to get the value for this current business. And since we passed in the URL as the key, we can get the review that matches this URL for the current business that we're on. So we're inside of a loop here. So we're looping over all of our businesses, and we have a value of business. So business.url should match a review inside of this average reviews object here that we created down here. So we created this object right here, set the key to the URL and the value to the review. So if we get the key that matches the URL, we'll get the correct review number. Hopefully that makes sense. And so this is pretty easy to do. All we need to do is go into our average review, and we can do average reviews, which is the value we passed into our props, and then do square brackets and do business.url, and we'll go ahead and save that. And now let's go ahead and jump back into our front end here. And it looks like there might be an issue. Let's reload the page first. Okay, and it looks like there might be an issue here. It looks like we're getting no stars. Let's double check this real quick and see what we might have done wrong. Oh, so it looks like we just had a typo here. We forgot one of our and signs up here inside of our if statement. Let's go ahead and add that there, save that, come back, look at our page, and now we have 3 reviews, 3.5 showing up as our average reviews, which is the same here, so we should be good. And with that done, that is pretty much it for this video. I just want to make a quick one going over creating this component and filling in that to-do spot right there. We still need to add the filters here. We also need to add a way to add businesses, reviews, and categories probably through some sort of form. And we also could use some work touching up some of the styles and adding pictures and some other things here as well. So there's still a lot more to do, but this is where we'll stop for today. The code will be in the description below, as well as in our links to anything else that might be useful will be down there as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.